Hi, Phanessa here. In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to crochet the Freya cardigan. This is a lacy cardigan, Raglan style, so it is worked top down without sewing. You can find additional information in the description box of this video. As always, if you need to slow it down, there's a feature to slow down the video. Over and pull up a loop. Again, make sure that, or if you need to speed it up so that I sound like a chipmunk, there's a option for that as well. Wiggle it through all the way to the top. And I'm trying to keep this part as taut as I can, so as tight as I can so that it... For the materials, I used Lion Brand's Nubu. This yarn is really soft and it has a really good drape. So keep that in mind when you choose your yarn. If it's a little bit more stiff, then it will end with a different result. So this is category 4 and it recommends a USI 5.5 millimeters. So that's what I'm going to be using for this project. Grab a pair of scissors, tapestry needle, and a tape measure. You'll need a few stitch markers to mark the increase of your yoke portion so that you can find it easier. Okay, so we're going to start with a chain of 82. That's going to be for the size medium. This pattern is in multiples of 10 plus 2. Okay, this is the foundation row. You're going to work one single crochet into the second stitch from your hook. This is the first, that's the second. Turn it around so that you work through the back loop, the little hump on the back. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So that's a single crochet. You're going to work one single crochet in every chain stitch all the way across. So if you chained 82, you should have 81 stitches. If you chained 92, you should have 91 stitches. Okay, row 1, we're going to chain 1 and turn. We're going to start our shell row. So in the first stitch here, work one single crochet. So the chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. Okay, now we're going to skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the 5th stitch here, you're going to work a shell stitch. So the shell stitch is going to be 9 treble stitches into the same stitch. So to work a treble, you're going to yarn over twice, insert your hook, so skip these 4, insert it into the 5th, yarn over, pull up a loop, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and finally yarn over and pull through 2. So that's one treble. You're going to work 8 more into the same stitch. You can see that this yarn kind of splits a little bit. So some of the complaints I've heard from people who have used this yarn is that it splits when they use it. And if you're not used to that, then it can be a pain. But I really love this yarn for the fact that it's so soft. Okay, so now we are going to skip 4 again. So skip 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4. Into this 5th, we're going to work one single crochet. Okay, so that's what you're going to repeat across. You're going to skip 4, work one shell, so 9 trebles, and then you're going to skip 4, and then one single crochet in the next. So skip 4 and 9 trebles into the next stitch, so your shell stitch. And you're just going to repeat that all the way across. If you need assistance with basic crochet stitches, I'll go ahead and link my playlist for you up in the corner. Okay, I'm at the end of the row. So I've got 5 stitches left. I'm going to skip 4 and then 1 single crochet into the last stitch here. Okay, so we finished our shell row. This is row 1. Okay, row 2, we're going to chain 4 and turn. So the chain 4 is going to count as a treble stitch throughout. So into the same stitch, work another treble stitch, and this is going to be a modified version of your V stitch without the chain 1 in the center. Okay, so now you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to skip 4 trebles and work 1 single crochet in the 5th. And that's basically your center of the treble crochet stitches from your shell stitch. Okay, so skip 4 trebles, 1 single crochet. Now we're going to chain 3. And we're ready for our first increase. So right here where the single crochet is, we're going to work an increase, which is 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, and then another treble. So the increase V stitch is, there's 3 trebles, but with just a regular V stitch, it's just 2 trebles. So that's the difference with the corner increases. So grab a stitch marker and mark your increase stitch, because you can get a little lost when you get further into the pattern. Okay, so now we're going to chain 3, and this is your repeat. You're going to skip the 4, 1 single crochet into the center of the shell. So now we have an increase stitch again. So we're going to chain 3. Now we're going to work an increase in the single crochet down here, just like we did in the last one. So it's going to be 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, and then finally 1 treble. Okay, so I'm going to mark this stitch over here just like this one so that I know. So this is the front, this is the sleeve, and now we're going to start the back. So chain 3, 1 single crochet, skip the 4, 1 single crochet into the top of the shell, which is the center. Don't forget to mark your increase stitch so that you can find it when you're working back and forth. Okay, so now I'm going to work the back portion. So you'll follow the stitch pattern for the back portion. So right there, that's going to be your next 2 increases. These are your back stitches here. So if you sort of turn these to the front, this is what it's going to look like. So right here is your front. So this one's your front, your sleeve. These are your back. And then this right here is your sleeve again. And then this one's the front. So the increases are right there. Okay, so working it flat without increases is just going to be chain 3. Whoops. And then V-stitch into the single crochet down here. So V-stitch is 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. So it's just like the increase, except there's less treble stitches. So 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. That's your V-stitch. You know, I'm just going to place my markers here where I need to increase, just in case I'm watching Netflix and I forget. Okay, so those are my increases right there. Okay, I'll continue to work across the back and I will increase again at the first marker. Okay, so I am at the marker. We have 2 shells left. This is the sleeve and that's the front. I'm going to work an increase into this next single crochet where I marked. So the increase is 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, and then 1 more treble. So here's a V stitch if you were to stop, but we're going to chain 1 and work another treble. So that's an increase. We're going to chain 3 and skip 4 trebles, and then we're going to work 1 single crochet into the 5th, which is the top of the shell, the center of the shell. Okay, so 1 last shell left, chain 3. We're going to work another increase, one treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 1, and then finish off with 1 last treble. So you should have 3 trebles with a chain 1 in between each treble. So this is my last treble here. So here is my increase. I'm going to chain 3, work 1 single crochet into the center of this shell here. Okay, chain 3. And then we're going to work 2 treble stitches into the last stitch. Here's the last stitch here. 2 treble crochet stitches. So where you would have worked a V in this area, in the middle of the work, on the edges you just work 2 trebles and not the chain 1 in between. Okay, so as you progress working your yoke, the increases will start shaping your yoke to fit around your bust and your arms. Okay, row 3, chain 1 and turn. You're going to work 1 single crochet into that very first stitch. The chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Okay, so you're going to work 1 shell stitch in the next single crochet right here. So we're skipping the chain 3 and working 1 shell into the single crochet. Again, 1 shell is 9 treble stitches. Okay, so I'm at the increase V stitch here. So remember we worked 3 trebles with 2 chain 1s in between. So these are the increases. I have my marker here, so I know that I need to follow the instructions for the increase. So we just completed a shell. We're going to work 1 single crochet into the first treble crochet. So right here, 1 single crochet. Now we're going to work 1 shell into the middle treble crochet right here. And again, that's 9 treble crochet stitches. So when you're working a shell row, you're alternating between a shell stitch and a single crochet. So since we have 3 trebles here in our increase, you're going to follow your last shell, work your single crochet into the first treble, and then a shell in the center treble, and then another single crochet into the 3rd treble. And then you just repeat the pattern. So when you're working the normal shell stitch, you can follow the chart that I have in the pattern, and then when you get to the increase, you just follow the instructions for the increase. So 1 single crochet in this last treble. So just remember that when you see a single crochet on top of the shell, that's where you're going to work another shell. So right here, you're going to work 1 shell on top of the previous shell, which is right into the single crochet. And when you see a V stitch, that's where you will work your single crochet into the chain 1 space, with the exception of the increase stitches. Okay, so I have another increase stitch here where my marker is placed. There are 3 treble crochets, so we're going to work 1 single crochet into the first treble and then a shell into the second treble stitch, and when we're done with the shell we will work 1 single crochet into the third treble. Okay, so I have my 9 stitches. Now you want to work 1 single crochet into the third treble stitch. Okay, so that's your front and your sleeve, and then this is going to be your back section. So you're going to work 1 shell, 1 single crochet, 1 shell, and 1 single crochet. So this is going to be a shell stitch here. This is a single crochet, so I'm going to work 9 treble stitches. Okay, now we're going to work 1 single crochet into the center of this V-stitch, which is right into the chain 1 space. So right there, 1 single crochet. And then on top of this shell, I'm going to work another shell stitch. And then that'll be the single crochet. And then when I get over here to the increase corner, it's going to be 1 single crochet, a treble, and then 1 single crochet. So that's going to be the same as well here. So I'm going to work across, and I'll work the increases where my stitch markers are. Okay, so I'm here at the increase stitch where I marked. So there are 3 trebles. In this first one, I'm going to work 1 single crochet and then 1 shell stitch right there in the center treble. So again, that's 9 treble stitches. That makes up your shell stitch. Okay, last treble. Now we're going to work 1 single crochet into this third treble here. So the third of the 3. So this is a shell stitch. We're going to work the shell there, 1 single crochet, shell, and then 1 single crochet. Okay, next stitch, 1 shell into the single crochet. Again, 9 treble stitches. Okay, so that is the 9th treble. So right into the next one, 1 single crochet. Okay, into this single crochet, 1 shell, and then at the end here we're going to work 1 single crochet in between these 2 trebles here. Okay, 1 shell right into this single crochet, so that's 9 treble stitches. Okay, so now we are going to work 1 single crochet in between the last 2 stitches. So that's your chain 4 and your treble. So the 2 treble stitches right here, just go right in between the space. Okay, next row we're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to turn and work 1 treble into the same stitch. So this is the 2 stitches that you work your single crochet into on the other side. Okay, so right there. Now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4 trebles into the center, which is the 5th. You want to work 1 single crochet. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to work a V-stitch into the single crochet here, and again that's 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble into the same stitch, so the single crochet down here. Okay, so we're at the corner increase. You can see my blue marker right here. So this shell here was part of the increase. There's the 3 trebles down there. So what we're going to do here is we're going to chain 3. And then into the center, we're going to work a series of stitches. So we're going to work 1 single crochet into the 5th stitch. So the 5th, which is the center, work 1 single crochet, chain 2, and then now we're going to work a treble. So we're working into the same stitch, and a chain 1, another treble, chain 2, and then 1 single crochet back into the same stitch. Okay, so this is our increase. I keep forgetting, but you want to move your marker up as you go so that you don't lose your place. So I'm going to chain 3 and then work 1 V-stitch into the single crochet down here. 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. So my next increase is right here. So I have 1 shell until my next increase. I'm going to chain 3, work 1 single crochet into the center of this shell here. Okay, so right here is my increase corner. Chain 3, 1 V-stitch in the single crochet down here. So again, that's 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. Okay, chain 3. Again, this is the increase. So into the center, we're going to work 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 2, and then 1 single crochet, all into the same stitch. Now we're going to continue in pattern, chain 3, 1 V-stitch into the single crochet, 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. Chain 3, 1 single crochet into the center of the next shell. So now we're on the back side. We're just going to be repeating the single crochet and the V-stitch, and then right here are my next increases. That's where I'm going to work that increase stitch. The increases are starting to shape the yoke. You can see here, these are the corner increases. So this is the sleeve, the front, and then this is the back. Okay, so I've worked across the back. I am at my next increase. So you're going to work your increase, 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 2, and then 1 single crochet, all into the same stitch. Now I'm going to chain 3, work a V-stitch right into the single crochet, 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble, chain 3, 1 single crochet into the center of the shell, chain 3, 1 V-stitch, 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. Chain 3, and now I'm back at my increase stitch. So into the center, 1 single crochet, chain 2, 1 treble, chain 1, 1 treble, chain 2, and 1 single crochet all into the same stitch. Chain 3, 1 V-stitch into the single crochet down here, 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble. Chain 3, 1 single crochet into the center of the shell stitch, which is the 5th stitch, chain 3, and now into the last stitch here, it is your single crochet. You're going to work 2 treble stitches into the last stitch. So that's 2 trebles, 1, and then 2. So it's like the V-stitch, except you're not chaining 1 in between. You can definitely see the shape of the yoke. Okay, row 5 is going to be just like row 3, chain 1 and turn, 1 single crochet into the same stitch, and then we're going to work 1 shell stitch into the next single crochet here. Okay, that's 9 trebles. So the stitch pattern only has 2 rows for your repeat, but in the yoke, when you're increasing, you do have rows 2 through 5 to repeat because of the increases. So the stitches in between the increases will remain the same, and then you just have to follow the chart and pattern for the corners, so for the increase part. Okay, so now we're going to work 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space. Okay, we're at the increase stitch here, so that's that funky stitch that we did with the single crochets and the trebles and the chain 2s. So we're going to work our shell right there, and then a single crochet up here, a shell there, 1 single crochet here, shell here, 1 single crochet, and then we will work our increase stitches here following the chart again. 1 shell, 1 single crochet, 1 shell. Okay, so to increase, we're going to work 1 shell right here in the first single crochet stitch right there. So 1 shell is 9 treble stitches. Okay, so I've got 9 trebles. On the top here where you have a chain 1, you're going to work 1 single crochet. So 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space, and then on this side here in the single crochet stitch, you're going to work another shell stitch. Okay, right into the single crochet right there, 1 shell stitch, which is 9 treble stitches. Okay, so this is what your corner increase looks like. It's got 2 shells right on top of the previous shell. So go ahead and move your marker up. I'm just going to place it right here so that I know where I'm supposed to work my next increase stitch. Okay, so right there. Okay, and everything in between is going to be the same. So 1 single crochet in the chain 1 space, 1 shell stitch into the single crochet stitch. Okay, I'm at the V stitch, 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space. Okay, so we're at the increase, so we're going to work 1 shell into the single crochet, 1 single crochet up here, and 1 shell stitch on the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to work across the back. This is my corner increase here. Just move your marker up as you go. And then I'm going to work across the back, which is just the shell and the single crochets here. So we're going to work across the back until we get to this section here. So we will increase just like we did here. Okay, I'm at the increase here. This is my next increase. Work 1 shell stitch here, 1 single crochet up there, 1 shell on the other side. So start with your shell stitch, 9 treble crochets into the single crochet on the side. Okay, I've got my 9. I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space. Now I'm going to work another shell into the other side where the single crochet stitch is. Okay, so I'm going to continue in pattern, 1 single crochet into the chain 1 space, and then just repeat, increasing right here, and then at the end you're going to work 1 single crochet in between the last 2 stitches, so the turning chain and the treble stitch. Okay, I'm at the end. I'm going to work 1 single crochet between the chain 4 and the treble stitch. Okay, so now you are going to repeat rows 2 through 5 for the yoke portion. So alternate between the shell stitch and the V-stitch, and just remember to increase in the corners of the yoke, and you want to stop after row 3. Okay, so in the increase you will start with your V-stitch increase, so that's 3 trebles right there, and then you have 1 shell on top of that in the center treble, and then the next V-stitch row you have that funky increase with the single crochet, the 2 trebles, and the single crochet, and then on top of that you have your 2 shells. So you work 1 shell on one side and 1 single crochet on top, and then another shell on the other side. And those are the increase rows that you repeat. The stitch pattern for the V-stitches and shell stitches will only be a 2-row repeat. So for my size, I'm going to repeat until I have 10 shells in the back portion of my yoke so that it fits the width of my circumference. And then we are going to separate the sleeves and join the front to the back so that we have our armhole. And after that, it's just going to be the 2-row repeat until the desired length. Okay, so this is the neck right here. This is the front. And then this part right here is the sleeves. Okay, so you can put this on your shoulder and make sure that when you fold this together that this space here fits your arm. So this is your armhole. I'm ready to separate the sleeves. So this is the V-stitch row, and we're going to separate the sleeves as we crochet around. Okay, so we're going to chain 4, start here where I ended, and then into the same stitch right there we're going to work a treble, okay, then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, just like before, skip 4 stitches. Into the 5th you want to work a single crochet, which is the center of the shell stitch. So chain 3 and then a V-stitch in the single crochet down here. That's 1 treble, chain 1 and 1 treble. So we're going to repeat that till we get to this center stitch here. This is the increase section, so right there, and then this is the last row that I worked. Then we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 4 stitches. Into the 5th you want to work a single crochet, chain 3 and then a V-stitch in the single crochet down here. That's 1 treble, chain 1 and 1 treble. Okay, so here is the increase part. Okay, lay this down. Okay, so this is the first increase here. I ended right here. So what we're going to do is work the 1 single crochet, so 1 2 3 4, into the center of the shell. Now we're going to chain 3 and we're going to skip all of the shell stitches. So here's the other corner, so we're going to skip all of these shell stitches, and it'll be different depending on what size you made. If you're adjusting, of course that will be different as well. Okay, and then I'm going to work 1 single crochet into this corner shell here. Okay, remember I chained 3. I'm going to skip all of these shell stitches here, and then into this corner right in the center I'm going to work 1 single crochet. 1 2 3 4, so right into the center. Now we're going to continue the same pattern across the back to this corner here. So you'll just continue the pattern. You have your chain 3, 1 2 3, and then your V-stitch in this single crochet here. 1 treble, chain 1, and 1 treble into the same stitch. Okay, chain 3, and then into the center of the shell. Okay, so what we've done here is we've joined right at the underarm. So this is your front, and then this is your armhole, and then we're going to work across the back, and we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to work across here and then separate the other side and do the exact same thing. Okay, so I'm near this next corner here. I'm working my V-stitch into this single crochet down here. Okay, now I'm at the corner. This is the corner shell. I'm going to chain 3 and work 1 single crochet into the center. Okay, so we want to skip all of the sleeve stitches just like we did on this side here. Okay, so I've worked 1 single crochet in the corner stitch. I'm going to chain 3, 1 2 3, skip these shell stitches, that's the sleeve, and then this is the next corner shell. I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the center of this corner shell. So now we've separated this side of the sleeve, just like we did on the first part here. And before you continue, you can finish this row off and then try it on to see if you like the fit. So we're just going to finish up on this side here, chain 3, V-stitch into the single crochet. Okay, just repeat, and then in the last stitch you're going to work 2 trebles instead of the V-stitch. So we're just omitting the chain 1 in between. Honestly, with this yarn, I feel like even if you chained 1, you couldn't tell. Whatever you decide to do, just be consistent. So I'm near the end here, working my last V-stitch. Now I'm going to chain 1 2 3, 1 single crochet into the center of the shell, chain 3, and then into the last stitch, which is a single crochet. Instead of working a V-stitch, you're just going to work 2 treble crochets, which is almost like the V-stitch. You just don't have a chain 1 in between. Okay, now we separated our sleeves. You can try it on to see if you like the fit. If it's too small, you can continue to increase and start on this row whenever you're ready to complete your yoke. So now we're just going to work the body, and this first row is just going to be slightly different because of the underarm. After that, it's just going to be the stitch pattern all the way until however long you want your cardigan. Okay, so we're going to chain 1 and turn. First stitch, 1 single crochet, shell stitch on top of the shell, so the single crochet, which is 9 trebles. So you should be quite familiar with the stitch pattern itself, just pretty much just shell stitches and single crochets, and the other row is just pretty much single crochets and V stitches. Seems easy, but when you get to the raglan increases, it's a little tricky sometimes. Some people find that the Nubu yarn is hard to work with because it's so soft and slippery. I will admit that it does slide off of my hook often, but I really love this yarn because I just love how it feels, and the drape of the garment is, I think it's great. But if you don't like the yarn, then you're not gonna like working on it, so just use whatever you'd like. Just keep in mind that this yarn has really good drape. If you're using something like worsted weight that's kind of stiff, or some other type of value yarn, just know that it is going to be a little bit thicker and it won't drape like it does with this yarn. So you're going to repeat until you get to the underarm. Remember, we chained 3 and then we skipped all the sleeve stitches. So when you get here, you're going to work a shell stitch right into that space, so basically into the armhole. I'll show you what to do. Okay, so here is the chain 3 from my underarm. So here's the underarm right here, and this is the shoulders. That's the armhole here. So right into the sleeve, I guess, the armhole, you want to work a shell stitch. So there's 3 chains there. Just work 9 trebles around the 3 chains. So around the chain 3. So this shell stitch will be a little spread out. Okay, so now we've worked 1 shell around the chain 3 right in the underarm. Sometimes you need to see the big picture to understand what's going on. So there's the underarm section right here. And then you just continue across the back and do the same thing on the other side of your underarm. Okay, so after the shell, it's 1 single crochet in the chain 1 of the center of the V-stitch. So you're keeping in pattern. Okay, shell into the next single crochet, and then just repeat that across. So we're continuing in pattern. Okay, so I'm over here on this side of my sleeves, so the underarm, the chain 3 right there. Remember, this is sort of upside down, so this is the underarm. Worked my last single crochet here. I'm going to work a treble just like the other side or around this chain 3. So again, that is going to be 9 treble stitches. Okay, so now the next V-stitch into the chain 1 space, 1 single crochet. Okay, so we've worked the shell under here, and that's going to match the other side down here. Okay, so I'm just going to finish the rest of this row. Just remember to work your single crochet into the space between the 2 trebles, or the chain 4 and the treble, the turning chain. And then the rest is pretty much a breeze to go through, and you will have no more increases. It'll just be a 2-row repeat. Okay, I'm at the end. just worked my shell, you're just going to go right into the space between the turning chain, so the chain 4 and the treble, and work 1 single crochet. Okay, so you have completed your yoke. Okay, so you've got your armholes here. Now you're ready to work the rest of the body, and it's just going to be a 2-row repeat. So your next row is just going to be the chain 4, 1 treble, chain 3 single crochet, chain 3 V-stitch, and you're just going to repeat that all the way across, working 2 trebles into the last single crochet. And then you turn and work on your shell stitch row. Okay, so this one is long. It's about 35 inches long, and when you stop you'll have this pretty scalloped edge here at the bottom. And my other one is shorter, so here's my armhole here, so you could basically go until you like the length. This one actually has a larger armhole, so it's a little bit looser compared to the other one. But because this yarn has a nice drape, it's really not that noticeable when you're wearing it, the armhole size. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Again, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification button so you'll be notified every time I post a video. I'll see you next time.